welcome to another interesting video on Home Truth Nigeria. Today I want to talk on, what to do before you bring your Nigerian guy. So it's titled "Before You Bring Your Nigerian Guy, Do This." A few days ago we talked about the different ways you could bring your partner, to your home country, just to so you guys could live the life you actually want. But today, I want to talk about a very different topic on certain things you should do before your partner, goes ahead, to file for an application, or you basically file for an application to bring your partner with you. The truth is that a lot of you have started application and you discover that it's taking time. A lot of you have spent money and time on application, but yet it was rejected, and you're totally confused why that would be. So before we, go any further, let us go straight to the point. What are these things you need to do before your guy comes to you? The first one is make sure your Nigerian guy is crime free. Now, one of the most important things embassies would ask from you is what we call the police report. The police report shows if the your partner was or is an ex-convict or someone who has done something in the past that got him in trouble and had the police involved, maybe like a crime, a fight, or something. Now here's the thing: you could sponsor your guy, make an application and waste money, you know to get him to actually go for an interview. Now when he sits for that interview, after all the money you've spent and time, you see that your partner's paperwork is actually rejected and denied. Sometimes one of the reasons could be because of the police report. And most of these guys, they know this. They know they've had dealings with the police. They know they don't have a clean slate with the police, but they won't tell you from the very beginning. They won't tell you because one, you didn't ask, and two, they would rather keep it to themselves because they want to see if, okay, for whatever reasons, they could try their luck and see if perhaps this time around, things could go better. That's why before you file any application, it is very important you sit down, talk with your Nigerian guy and ask him, is there anything I should know as regards crime? Have you been involved in anything that had you, you're convicted, you stayed in the police cell and all of this? Have this discussion with him. And if it comes out that, okay, it had something to do in the past, I mean, it happened in the past, people make mistakes. So it is good you know all of this before you make your application so that if it is the situation whereby he has a problem in the past with the police, you could basically, seek for legal counsel, meet an immigration lawyer, and then they could advise you how or what best to do about this. Second thing, you need to know that you need to make sure he's not married secretly. Now, out of ignorance, a lot of people do not understand that bigamy is an offense. So if you're already dating a guy who is married or he was hiding it from you, maybe you're trying to bring him through what they call the K1 or the fiancé visa. And one of the reasons they, reject a lot of people is because most of them, they actually find trace that a lot of them are actually married. And when I mean trace of a lot of them are actually married, most times they ask them to go, get what we call the certificate of bachelorhood, you know. So sometimes when they bring this certificate, it turns out that these guys, they were married. So the rule is that you cannot marry another woman while you're still married to another person. So you basically have to make sure that the other lady is divorced already. Because if you marry this lady and you go marry another lady, it's bigamy and it's an offense. So a lot of people don't know this out of ignorance, and a lot of people don't ask. However, it is very important for you, to sit down and ask this individual, were you married at any point? You know, because you have a situation whereby a lot of Western women come to Nigeria, they marry these guys and then they go back. When they go back, after a few months, they change their mind. They are not interested. Now they change their mind. There is nothing about divorce filed, nothing. it is in the Nigerian registry that they've been married. Nothing about, divorce. Fine. The guy goes ahead with his life, the lady goes ahead with her life. No divorce has been filed. Now, this guy who was initially married to a Western lady that at the end of the day didn't work out, but they didn't divorce, might meet you, and then the next thing you're trying to bring him to your country, and then before you know what's happening, you get to discover that okay, he was married before. You don't know if he doesn't tell you. So it is very important you sit down to ask him this question: has he ever, in any time, been married to somebody? Is he married to somebody traditionally or through court, or what we call the white wedding? You need him to tell you the truth because it could work against your application, and that would be time wasting and as well money. So it's very important to know all of this before you go ahead to make your application. Now, another thing you need to ask him is ask him if he has been refused entry into your country. It is very important before you proceed. Kindly ask him this question because sometimes this could be kind of like a factor why your partner's visa is delayed or even cancelled. For instance, if you're dating a guy who has been trying for years to get into maybe Canada or the United States, he's been struggling for years to get into Canada or the United States, and he had visa appointment like 2 or 3 times and was denied, this multiple times. This could be, another reason that could, get your application, delayed or eventually rejected because, you know, people would not see it like, okay, he's marrying you again for all the right reason. There may be this kind of thought like, okay, why was he trying to go into this country on 2 or 3 occasions and was denied? Are we sure he's not trying to use this lady in the name of marriage, just to get into uh, the same country he has applied for visa before? And then lastly, it is very important to ask him if he has overstayed any of his visa duration. Now, if you're dating any guy and you're planning on how he would come to your country, please ask him if there was ever a time he have overstayed any of his visa's duration when he visited any country. Perhaps he had traveled through tourist visa and then he overstayed the stipulated amount of time while exiting the country, which is a violation. But because a lot of people don't know that it is a violation, when you make application, this could come back, to haunt him. It could be problematic, So that is why it's very important to ask him all of these questions, before you start the process. Now, why am I saying all of this? The truth is, a lot of ladies they've spent their hard-earned money, time, commitment, hoping to bring their lover, you know, to their home country, to start a life and have the life they've planned. And a lot of ladies have seen that okay, with all this time investment and everything, but a lot of times you find out that your application is still going for over a year, you're still spending much money, and you're wondering, what could be the case. And what could be the case is that perhaps you never sat down, to ask this individual what actually is the problem. So when you speak to this individual and he owns up to you to tell you like, okay, he did this court marriage, but he doesn't know like, okay, it would come back in the future, or he had a problem with the police, or he overstayed his duration one time he traveled, or he had tried coming into this country multiple times and his visa was refused. Then you can now go, seek legal advice, on how to go about it. You could seek legal advice and you'll be guided probably how to go about it before you start the application, so you don't waste money and time. And at the end, maybe it ends up not working. Now, in conclusion, ladies, when you meet your guy and you're so much interested to be, with him, first thing you need to do is to find the legal way, to go about him coming to your country. After you've discussed or planned on how you want to bring him to your country, the next thing is to sit down and ask him all of these things I've listed. Ask him if he had done any of this. And the reason you ask him is because it would show or it would expose or it would be brought to limelight when an application is made. And you would be really, really angry if you only get to find out, you know, during when the application is made. So have this talk with him, get things straightened out, and then you decide if you would seek legal advice on how best or what to do with some of these things probably he did in the past. And then you would know how to bring your guy, smooth and easy. So, guys, I would like to say a very, very big thank you for listening to this video. And please like, share, subscribe. And if you want to comment, comment respectfully. Home Truth Nigeria. Peace out.